It should be there. Right. I think we are on live. Hopefully, I'm going to go check my pages now to make sure that we're on live. So, welcome in, everybody. This is a new series. So, we're going to go in and get started. So, let me look at my videos. Yes, there we go, everybody. There we go. So, now, let me go ahead and edit this post as I always have to do to make it that it is shareable. So on my page, it is shareable. Now it's in please go in there and like and share. We're going to have a great conversation tonight. Tonight is a special edition of a new program, a new podcast that I will be recording and making available by bi-weekly in the next coming months. But we had to get on this conversation again. This is the same group of people that I had before, and it's called the Executive Perspective. So we're going to get into talking about this election that we had and how is affecting us after this inauguration and everything that is going on. So I hope you guys come in, like and share across all of your social media, and let's get going. How are you guys doing tonight? We got 1 minute to get started. I am very, very happy. I'm very, very excited. And it's gonna be a good evening. So come in, like, share, let's have this conversation. I love it. And I love what we're doing here. So come in and as my group is here to talk today. So that's going to be an awesome, awesome time. So let's come in and go. So we're at 7 o'clock, everybody. We're at 7 o'clock. So I have a group here and I want to introduce people and make sure that they have an opportunity to talk with you. As you are our audience, I want you guys to know that you are a key member of this whole thing here. Okay. How is that? How is that you're a key member of this whole thing? Well, easy. We have an opportunity for you to come into our thing here, right? Tell us what you're thinking. Give us some questions, and we would love to answer them. You're like, yeah, I hear you talking, lady. How you're doing it, right? Okay, here it is. Surprise! What we're going to be doing is that we're going to let you go into Slido. Slido, what is it? It's an app. It's a website. You can use on a URL. You can scan that QR code, or you can go to slido.com and put that code in there, and you can interactively talk with us right now as we are going through our conversation with one another. We have some people that already started the conversation, which is totally awesome. Okay. They started doing it early once I posted and said you can get started right now. People have been asking questions, and I think that is an important part of this whole thing. So I hope you guys come on in and look at this and come into Slido and ask your questions to us. And we are here to help you out and we are here to get it started. So, what I want to do is introduce myself. My name is Rolanda Michele. I am a business consultant and a coach. And I am the host of Executive Perspective with me, Rolanda Michele. Okay. This is a special edition of Executive Perspective. And it's something that we're going to be launching within the next month. And it will be a podcast, but it will also be videos as well. Sometimes we'll have live sessions like this, and then sometimes we won't. They'll be recorded in videos and you can see them. So it would be all kinds of things that you can do, all different kind of ways to interact with me, with information. And also, guess what? In that situation, you will also have an opportunity to submit questions to me as always. So let's get started, everybody. I don't know about you. I'm ready to get started. So let me see who's first on my list. Okay, I see. I'm going to go on and go in. I'm only going by face here. Okay, I'm going to leave the Slido up because I want everybody to be able to start submitting your questions. So I'm going to leave this up while we are introducing ourselves before we get into the content. And you'll be able to see who's talking. So first person that I want to introduce, who is right underneath me, in my little box, is no favoritism here, is Sharon. So you're right underneath me. So Sharon, her name is Sharon Hobson, and Sharon Hobson will introduce herself, tell us who she is, what she does, and she can answer the question that is in the Slido about how do they feel right now after the inauguration.
Mm.
No, and we're going to keep it brief, Sharon. Okay, we're going to keep it brief, everybody. Just to get, and we'll get into the conversations deeper later, but we're going to keep it brief with a little introduction of how you're feeling about everything. So, Sharon, you'll go first, and then Vicky. I see Vicky, Sarah, and Kiana is right underneath you. So that's everybody, right? Yeah. So let's get started.
Okay.
Oh,
Good
and Katie.
evening.
Katie's last. Because I was like, somebody's missing.
Oh,
Katie.
okay.
But go ahead, Sharon. You're first.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome, and thank you for coming. And again, my name is Sharon Hobson, and I am a project manager professional. And I how I feel about everything that has taken place. I'm going to take a deep breath. Um, Not very happy about some of the executive orders that have been played out, hoping that they don't continue. I'm praying that we do something about them, especially where health is concerned, Medicare, Social Security, and DEI. And I'm just going to keep it there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, we're going to have Vicky. So, Vicky, you come in and you introduce yourself and tell us who you are, what you do, where you come from, and how you are feeling right now about the state of our union, because this is the state of our union to us. How it feels to you.
Yeah. So once again, thank you for inviting me to join you tonight. I'm Vicky Lynn, and I am in my previous life was a senior leader within a Fortune 500, excuse me, Fortune 5 healthcare organization. And my whole life was around, risk and health around risk and managing the risk. And in my current life, I'm a caregiver to my in-laws, and I'm still focused around senior health and pretty much the same way as Sharon. Really want to talk about what a lot of these executive orders mean to the people that mean the most to me. That's the elderly, DEI, and most people think DEI is just people who have brown skin, but is a lot more than that. Accessibility, the elderly as well. So feeling a little bit, anxious.
I get that. I get that. Anxious is a way to feel, and I can see why you would feel that way. And I think everybody has a little bit of that. I mean, even if Kamala Harris was the president, I think we all have some level of anxiousness because we want to see what the new thing is.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
this is a
yeah.
little
Because in
this is
my
a
new
little
life,
different.
because in my new life is that I have a website and a YouTube channel where I'm trying to teach people that you need to plan for aging outside of retirement, and all of those stop gaps and all the things that I've been telling them about, are they still going to exist?
Mm, yeah. That is a big question. That is a big question, and we can get into all of that too. And everybody, I in the chats, you'll see that I have placed the Slido link in the chat so that you can, if you don't have, you don't have to, scroll it and if you can't, scroll and see it, or you can scan it, or you can just go ahead and click the link. I'm going to say this before I move on is that I know there's nobody, there is a issue over here with the link in not the link, the view in Instagram.
Mhm.
It's always like that for me, guys. I'm sorry. So what I'm going to do for you on Instagram, if you guys are there and you are and you want to be here, I'm going to put a link in Instagram so that you can just come on over to YouTube, because that's where we are right now, and we're starting with the chat. So you can come on over to YouTube, and if you come to YouTube, you'll be able to see everything that's going on, and you'll be able to, join and and see everything, see everybody's faces, and it won't be all blurry and stuff like that. So please come on over. So yeah, Vicky, I hear you, I feel you, and we are, we're on there. I think we're all there together. And again, that's why I'm keeping the Slido up, everybody. Please, you can ask questions there. You can also, answer the question that I post to everyone, and just to get the feel of where we are. Next person is Sarah. You're on our list. So Sarah, go on and tell us how you feeling, hon. How's it going?
Hi, guys. I once again honored to be with you all today. I really enjoyed the last time we were together. So, in my day job, I'm a lead business analyst and in the healthcare space. And I also do websites on the side. So professional, but professional geek, actually. But as far as our current situation with the administration, I'm concerned, obviously disappointed, number one, but concerned on three different levels. One is the social issues that everyone is talking about, of course. I'm also concerned about the chaos, the level of chaos that's going on. I'm also concerned about the economy. I'm concerned about potential war, and I'm concerned about the economy. So trying to keep myself grounded and not get spun off into the anger and frustration that I think a lot of people feel. So I have different little tactics that I use to keep myself grounded.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of, frustrating and angry, and I can, I feel that too, because I'm like, what? Like, what just happened here? But it is where we are right now, right? And we have to figure out, the best, move forward. So I think this is what this is all about. So like I said, this is what this conversation is. We had a great conversation last time, and hopefully we will be able to join in and get in some stuff today. So now, Sarah, next person is Kiana. Welcome, Kiana. How are you feeling? Who are you? What do you do? Um,
Hi, I'm Kiana. I am an author. I am a cosmetologist. I'm also an advocate for single mothers and Black women and their self-actualization. And my concerns now on, a little bit into this administration have been, like Sarah was saying, just the jolts to my system of all the different news coming in from the administration. But what I have discovered within that is a kind of determination and a reason to hone my ability to focus more. So that's what I'm creating for myself within all the chaos.
got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. That makes sense, right? That makes sense for all of us to do, to figure out, because that's what this is too. We want to figure out that path forward. I mean, I know that there is a lot going on in the world, and we're like, all right, and it can become overwhelming. Um, but we have to figure out what is that path forward, right? Like, what is that path forward? We can't let them beat us. So, yeah, I think that's good. That's good. So last but surely not least, we have Katie. Hey, welcome, Dr. Katie. Come on in and tell us who you are, and tell us about, how you're feeling about the situation that is at hand called this administration.
Thank you, Rolanda. Good evening, everybody. My name is Katie Venter. I am a scientist and an educator, and I do a lot of program evaluation, which involves working with NSF Department of Education, Department of Justice grants. And I don't think I need to tell anyone here how much chaos has been started over the past several weeks in all of those departments. So I don't like the chaos, obviously. I worry too about these sweeping changes, how they are occurring. And they seem to flip-flop back and forth, which makes it very difficult in these spaces where you're talking about, multi-million-dollar projects in science and engineering and also education, how to support staff, how to support these programs, but most importantly, how do we support students? Because they do seem to pay the highest price with all of this uncertainty. For a scientist, 6 months is a fair amount of time, but for a student, 6 months is more than a semester term. So right now, we are really just kind of struggling, figuring out how to support across several different categories of folks and also across different projects. And how do we bring back stability when this lack of stability was completely unnecessary?
Well, well said. Okay, so I'm going to go into the views so everybody can see everybody here, right? So with everything that is going on in the world, I gave you guys a couple of things, right, to think about prior to the meeting. Just the 64 executive orders that have been, done, from this president from the 20. And then just thinking about this, 64 executive orders signed by our president in less than a month. That is a lot of executive orders. And I'm reading some of them and I'm giggling at them because I'm like, you're the president and you decided that we need to talk about plastic straws. Like that is all because you have to think about it. Your executive order should be the top of your agenda, right? What you and then the first month in it for when did he do this? I'm going to tell you the exact date. Because I have it written down. I have it right here. February 10th. He did that on Monday. So Monday this week, he decided that he is promoting the use of plastic straws. It sounds weird. You're like, okay, who cares about plastic straws? Like I tell people all the time, okay, I don't like the paper straws. I will say that, right? Because, I don't drink fast all the time. It's sitting in the liquid and it's getting soft. And so I get that, right? But an executive order that encourages the use of plastic straws over paper, I just feel like that is something that we could have did something else with. He could have had another thing at time.
The average person would have done what I did. Order 2,000 plastic straws from Amazon and carry them in your purse. You don't need an executive order for that. That's not what people need, our government to be worried about.
Right.
Hi, Katie.
Oh, I definitely, this aligns to his agenda. Look at his other executive orders, drilling, oil, etc. The plastic and the starting ingredients to make these plastic products comes from that oil industry. This is an economically driven argument. So it is effectively a great big commercial to support buying raw materials from the oil industry. That's what this is about. This is exactly where those raw materials come from and supporting the growth of those industries at the expense of other industries. So we can make it an argument, that is silly or nonsense, or we can carry around straws. And I mean, I appreciate that we can, but this is deeper than that. This is where we get those raw materials, who it supports, and more importantly, where does that money end up once we support those industries?
And it's just what you said, Katie. It's around, focusing on how I'm going to enrich my friends. And, when we talk about the paper straws were to boost a different type of industry, a green industry. And for those of us who hate paper straws, we found a way around it, but we can still let the people that we, frequent do what they need to do to support the green industry. And that's been my biggest concern with this entire administration is nothing is America First when I look at these executive orders. Not a darn thing. Nothing is bringing down the price of eggs, which the other day I was really shocked that, just from Tuesday to Wednesday, they went up $3 a dozen. And nothing is really going to bring back all of these quote unquote social, payments that they're making to people and these safety nets. It's like, come on, people have paid into Medicare, they've paid into Social Security. Why is it that we're trying to get rid of any and everything that is going to keep our poor from being the poorest and giving everything to the people who already have all the money in the world?
Well, I mean, okay, so we can take a step back, and I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. It's always been that way, right? It's always been that way. A lot of the negativity, a lot of the things that we see now have always been that way. It's just that now it is
Feeling
so,
it.
yeah, so obvious. They don't have to hide anything. And you know what? In some ways, in certain situations, I'm glad that now you can't now the curtain has been moved, right? We all see that the wizard is just a man that flew in on a balloon, right? Um, and we don't have to worry about the lies of, oh, well, we're on your side. So let me get into something that I know that everybody wants to talk about because everybody has an opinion on it, that on your side part, right? So, yes, I am going to get on my I told you so platform right now. And everybody on here, you guys don't know me, so you don't know I told them so. But some of these people in this panel know me, know that I told them this. Good old, back in the day when everybody was BLM, Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, we're going to celebrate this and we're going to do this for Black people. Yes, DEI. Da, 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 da. And I said, this is pacification. There is not real change, and these things are not going to stay forever. Oh yes, I remember, and I'm not going to say this person's name. I was working with them at the moment in time, and they gave us all for Juneteenth. Do you remember this? That person that I'm talking about? And I said, this is not going to last in most of the companies, and it didn't. And so now that they have an administration that says, you don't have to do that anymore. You can go back to the good old days that you hire whoever you want without looking at how it makes, how your, diverse your employee base is. And you saw on, well, right before the election and then right after the election, all of these companies, the Walmarts, started rolling it. Amazon rolling this stuff back. Everybody started rolling this stuff back. I also saw a company, and I can't remember the name of it right now, and I should have wrote it down because I was very intrigued about it. That was it Microsoft? It might have been Microsoft, but they didn't roll DEI back. They just said we're not going to have, and this happened in 2020 though. They said we're just not going to have, we're going to save money on this particular, all these different roles, but we're just going to incorporate diversity inside of our hiring practices, which means that they didn't need a DEI program because that's what they were just going to do anyway, right? So now people are saying that's how it's going to be to make sure everybody's diverse. So understanding diversity, like we said, like you said before, and everybody going to hear this panel knows that diversity does not mean black or white. Okay, it does not mean black or white. Diversity in the things that happen underneath DEI helped a lot of people because diversity helped minority, and guess the other word that we love them so much, but we are going to take diversity away. Veterans, right? Because veterans were protected by these DEI practices as well. And handicapped people that were had, disabled people. It wasn't about having, you have to have all these black faces, or well, really, that's really all they worry about is the black faces in them. And understanding that I'm going to say something, and and I have, and I don't want to, and this is just a fact, that DEI did not benefit Black people
Not
as
at
much
all.
as it benefited white women.
Mhm.
Why? Because they grouped this all together. So
Mhm.
I, it's like, as a Black woman and a business owner and a leader, they would rather say, okay, I can hire a Black man or a white woman, but I knew I was always all the way at the bottom. It never, so when people see, oh, the Black women are rising up, or the Black women, we're not really rising up. We already understood where we stood, right? And
Mhm.
we're just happy now that we can say, okay, you're the guy, or you're the person that is against that. You're not really feeling me. That's good. You don't have to play anymore. DEI is not about Black and white. DEI is one of the most beneficial things that any organization can have. And
Mhm.
I'm not talking about DEI in the sense of having Black people, but diversity in itself.
Mhm.
Because if you have a vanilla, and I shouldn't say vanilla because then that makes it seem like I'm talking about white. If you just have a one flavor of in your store, right? You might be like, oh, you do that flavor very well. Like, you guys make lemon cake very well. But sometimes you don't want a lemon cake. Sometimes I want a chocolate cake. Sometimes I want a vanilla cake. Sometimes I want a swirl cake. Sometimes I want a red velvet. How about that? How about a white velvet? I saw a white velvet before. I never even knew it existed. Um, so with diversity, it just gives you an opportunity to expand the basis. Everybody's coming from different places, different experiences. Oh, and another thing that DEI did, ladies and gentlemen, DEI actually protected people that were over 40.
Mhm.
So if you're over 40 and you're sitting there thinking like, oh, I don't need that. I don't need DEI. Even if you are a white man, you are protected by certain DEI practices because of your age. So we have to understand
Yep.
that diversity is not about race. It's about so
Mhm.
many things. And it's just saying that, hey, you just can't, not necessarily you can, but you shouldn't just let everybody go. Like, just like, oh, well, I'm just going to let this happen.
Mhm.
And, I'm just, oh, I just want to hire these people. You get a difference of opinion. Um,
Yep.
so let's talk about DEI, and then let's swerve into these boycotts, right? And how do you guys feel on that boycott stuff? So anybody can start. I just want to make sure everybody has a turn. If you guys want to go in the same order, because now you guys are all different the way that you look on at looking towards me now. So you guys you guys look different. So anybody can start, and then we can just go around robin about how do you guys feel about DEI?
Well,
And
I do have a little bit of pushback about the I. I'm not about, the factuality of the statistical realities of DEI. Like that is what it is. I do feel like it did create more opportunity and, more importantly, a lot of motivation in some cases for people who, like you said, would normally know that they were just not going to make the cut, to try to push for certain things. And I believe it also opened up an avenue for businesses to, even if it was just to placate, even if it was just to gain favor and whatnot, it created a lot of opportunities for people who look like me in that sense. So even though, like I said, statistically, it wasn't all of that what people voted against in terms of it, I feel like it still played a role in people being able to uplift themselves. Otherwise, wouldn't have been able to do so.
Mhm.
I agree with that. I do think that it gave a level of motivation. Let me just say something. All the stuff was going on, and I think we're talking about Black women, right? Are you talking mainly about Black women? Okay, okay. Let me talk about my sisters. Okay, Amazon did this. Walmart's been this has not been a good company as far as for women and minorities since I've known them, right? So Walmart rolling back DEI, all right. Amazon, we got it. Yeah, he's a billionaire. We see that. Okay. You know what made what Black women motivated? Target. Okay. When Target rolled it back, okay, it was like the torches were lit, like the tiki torches they had down south. Black women just
because we made you. Because we made you Target. We made you the place to be. When people started, because at first nobody was trying to go to Target for real, for real. And then when
I always
started, we
did.
came in there like
I
this
always
is
did.
nice. You always did.
I did.
Well,
I didn't do Walmart.
well, the thing is, and I may be being assumptive here, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm poor. And I don't get the impression that you are. So the thought process the thought process was Target is expensive. And then at a certain point, there was something that happened where people were like, it is a little pricey, but we like the atmosphere. And it was Black women that said, hey, let's go to Target and have a self-care day. Let's go to Target and get some Starbucks and just walk around and feel the vibes. It was Black women that did that. And then you started seeing everybody kind of making Target into this kind of, I don't want to say a status symbol, but just like the girlies are going to Target. The girlies are going to Target.
So Target is a status symbol as opposed to Walmart, right? Because
it is.
Yes, but it's more than it was a cultural. It made it like part of the culture.
Target, they call it Target.
Target.
Right? Yeah, they call it but that was right. Black women created that.
Yeah, but I think for me,
not
go
me.
ahead, sorry.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. See, I had a different thing about Target. I didn't like going to Walmart because of the different class that was in Walmart. I'm just going to just say that.
That's why people went to Target. It was more.
They run into you with their carts. It's a totally different vibe. So I would go to Target. I remember when my father was living and I was visiting my parents one weekend, and my father comes in the room and says, and he knew I didn't like shopping at Walmart, but he and my mother did. Sharon, we're going to Walmart. You want to go? Really? And now my friends, they do this. They do the same thing. Now I'm like, y'all going to Walmart? Well, are you going to Target? Nope. You going to Walmart? Nope. So now we're scrambling, trying to figure out where to go. So Costco's is the winner now.
Yes.
I just was calling Lonnie today because I was like, look, I'm at Sprouts. And let's try some things out. Let's figure out what we like here, because this is our life now. So let's figure it out.
Yeah, I think for me, Target was a more inclusive space. I mean, you could go there and you could get your Pride, you could get your Mardi Gras, you could get your everything. Whatever national holiday it was, Target was all inclusive, and that's what made it for me.
I just love the store.
Let me just say, Target was inclusive, right? So I think it really, it really hurt our feelings because Target had the pride. Target was the first, one of those first stores that you would go in and see really true cultural Black hair products. Okay. You go there and you would see it. Miss Jessie's is like, I loved Miss Jessie's when I had my curls and everything. I would go there. I couldn't find it anywhere. I would go to Target. I could find it.
That's why I think that it is such an insult, because it's clear, just as much as we embrace Target, I believe if it wasn't lucrative to do so, if we weren't bringing in money, they wouldn't have done all that. They weren't doing that just because, we're just trying to be nice. So you're not going to sit here and tell me that you're going to spit in my face when I know what I've done for you in terms of bringing you into the cultural, because basically whatever Black women are doing, it's the cool thing to do. Let's be honest. So if Black women are going to Target for self-care days or to be bougie or whatever like that, that's what everybody else is going to want to do. And so now you're going to tell me, and we don't even have to, like, we can quietly do it. We can just take down this stuff within our thing. But now you're going to tell me outright, we're letting these people know that we're not doing this DEI thing anymore. No, you don't need my money then, because that's a slap in my face.
Yes, exactly.
So for me with the DEI, so the slap in the face was the fact that, okay, you roll back DEI. Then you went and like sort of removing the Black products from your stores. Like that was like, whoa, that was like a step too far. And then, but the funny thing is that I love about it is that, so people out there, you guys think that boycotts don't work. That's a lot. That's a lie because what was it? They started doing this on the 20 something of January, and by the first week of February, there was a class action suit against Target by its shareholders because they said
Yes.
you with us that we were going to have backlash by removing DEI products, that they were going to boycott our stores. So boycotts do work. And if you didn't know that they didn't work because of, say, maybe the bus boycott, but if you didn't realize that boycotts work from the bus boycott, you'll see that the shareholders are fighting Target now because they're going to lose profits because people are filming going into stores. I saw this reverend and he went into this store, and I think it was kind of cool. You saw the video that I'm talking about? And he went into the store and he put all this stuff, and he had carts and carts of stuff, and he had them ring it up like it was thousands and thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars.
And he was like, "So what is your DI?" And he was started asking him about how they felt about, people that look like him. And he's like, "Yeah, I don't want this, and I'm not putting it back up." He says not just about boycotting, but making them inconvenience. I mean, like, he took so much carts and carts of stuff.
Now that makes me feel bad because I used to work. You remember I worked at Target. I would be so bad. Like, they didn't do that. They didn't do this. Not their fault.
I know. Yeah. The bad thing is that, yes, that's what happened right there. I used to work for Walmart when I was younger, so I already know what it was like. So these stores have always had a history of not necessarily appreciating people of color and women. And it's not just about them. It was, there's cars, car industry people are rolling back DEI products, right? DEI stuff. Like, I think Ford was the one. And let me make sure, I'm going to look it up, so I don't want to say anything wrong, because I know I sent it to everybody. Anybody going to remember what I sent you guys, just say, yeah, it was right or wrong. But,
So Rolanda, let me just say, one of the things that I've started doing to prove the point of the boycotts is watching the stock market. And I have, casually looked at it, but now I'm actually looking several times a day, watching those stocks. I'm watching Google, I'm watching Target, I'm watching Amazon, I'm watching Tesla, and I'm watching them struggle. And I'm watching the stock market struggle. Again, the economy is a little bit on my radar. I mean, it's quite a bit on my radar, but I want to prove your point in that the boycotts do work, and that who deserves my money. Like, Delta came out and said, they gave them the finger and said, we're doing DEI. I don't care what you think. So I'm going to put them on my radar and look at the other airlines versus them. And it is working in a certain sense. Target stocks are down, Tesla stocks are down. You can see, obviously it comes and goes, but I'll tell you, the other thing I noticed about the stock market is that when a decision is made, such as the Trump tariff, the first round with Mexico and Canada, all of a sudden the stock market dropped big. And there's this, course correction, which was, just like, oh, I made them do it my way. But little by little, what I do, because all they care about is the money, and I learned that from you, Rolanda, is whenever there's some weird decision, you can verify it on the stock market. If those stock market goes down, all of a sudden they're going to put in the China tariffs, but now all of a sudden, oh no, now we're going to let just small packages come through. Well, what comes through in small packages? Cell phones, iPads, all the things that we need in small packages from China. So you can correlate it and not get lost in all the hubbub and all of the, emotional part of it, and actually verify it, because that's a fact. The money is a fact, and everything else is, it could change tomorrow, but that's all they care about is the money.
Yeah. That's a good point, because they're trying to numb us. They're throwing so much at us to numb us, and also to keep our eyes off of the big balls. But
Yep.
like Sarah says, if you're looking at that stock market, you can see exactly how certain of these are being affected.
Yep.
That's why I love Fidelity, and Fidelity has webinars that, they kind of cut through the minutia and try to help you see, what some of this chaos is, so you can take away the noise and see
Yeah.
here's the black and white that you need to focus on.
The other thing that I just went to a seminar on Monday, but you can look back because we've seen this show before. What did it look like when they imposed tariffs in, the years prior? So we've seen some of the show. It's worse now, but you can look back and see it. As far as DEI goes, for me, I always felt really good about DEI because I felt like it was part of our culture, that we were progressing forward, not backwards. And that even if it didn't benefit everybody that it's supposed to, it was discussed and it was talked about. And, it was just part of the culture. And with it being taken away, that to me is very sad. I don't know what it's going to do for our economy, probably going to hurt it. But it's just sad that it's shut down that conversation.
So, I mean, let's think about this strategically, right? So strategically speaking, there are jobs that are in the United States, right? And the jobs that, the coveted jobs are the higher paying jobs. Those are the jobs, the executive jobs. These are the leadership jobs. These are the jobs that um I don't think I don't think that people that, align themselves with the administration think of those as black jobs or people of color jobs or women jobs at that. Um, the situation is that now you have the war on immigrants, and and I know, and when he took away that birthright citizenship, he wanted to take that away. And I'm just going to say this to people, okay? Because what he said when he did it, right? So well, it was only two people on this call that would need to check themselves if that birthright citizenship would have applied to them the way that I'm going to tell you how it should be applied, that it would be applied if you think about it. He said that birthright citizenship, the 13th and the 14th, 15th Amendment were only for the black people, only for the slaves. It gave us, the brown people on this call are safe, okay? Because that gave it, but it didn't apply to everybody else. That's what he was saying. So if your family came through Ellis Island, you can trace back and say, up, you guys are all not supposed to be here. Okay, all of you are based on that. You're not supposed to be here. Okay, because you didn't. Hey, you guys just came. Y'all showed up. Okay, you just showed up, and they had to figure out a way to keep, because they didn't turn you away and they just let you in. When they said, "Give us your tired," and y'all came. But now he's saying that really didn't apply. Like that really wasn't you. It shouldn't apply to your kids because you guys weren't citizens at the time. Because he's not saying that. Well, you have, from my understanding, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but the birthright citizenship was saying that even if you were here as if you weren't a citizen, your children weren't a citizen, basically. Even if you were here, you had paperwork to be here, but you weren't a citizen, your children weren't a citizen. If one of the parents weren't a citizen, that child wouldn't be a citizen. Meaning that even if they said, okay, we'll let you guys in, you guys still weren't citizens. So generationally, if you guys go back, because see, I got papers to prove that my ancestors was slavery. Okay, I can prove that. Okay, if you're not of the brownish hue and have African ancestors that were enslaved, then you need to think about that. This stuff, when you think about it, sounds cute because you're only thinking about those Mexicans and those Venezuelans and those other people that don't look like you. But in actuality, anybody that is of a lighter hue has some level of been an illegal immigrant, even if you can trace it back to the Mayflower, okay? Because that you truly were illegal, right? So so understand that these things that we're talking about goes way beyond just I just don't like those people. Right? I don't want, and I have no problems with Mexicans. I have no problems. And the thing about some people try to say Puerto Ricans, and I'm like, Puerto Ricans are American. What are you talking about? These people are American. They're not immigrants. Why are you talking about them? But they don't care because they don't look like them. And we have to stop this. Well, you don't look like me, so I don't know you. I don't know you. Listen, I don't care if you're black or white or whatever. If I don't know you, I'm going to be a little cautious of you. But I'm going to not say, well, you need to get out of the country because I don't know, we're not going to do that.
Well, the other scary thing about the immigration is I live in California, so it's a very high population of Mexican people from Mexico. A lot of other people, obviously, but there's a lot of people working the fields. And it's like this open secret. Nobody says it necessarily, but everybody knows that most of those people are not legal and they work for nothing. I can tell you that when they take those people away, and I hope they don't, but when they do, the price of our groceries is going to go through the roof because nobody is going to pick those fields for the price.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. It's not just California, but I'm just saying that from my perspective, and I've lived in, I've lived here my whole life. My previous where I lived, it was a rural, farming community. And it was, I mean, some of those kids, sometimes they would come and go because they were migrants and they would come and go. But you can't put that genie back in the bottle.
No.
So when they raise those prices to pick the food and work in the fields, it's going to affect all of us and it will never go back.
No.
So that's another, and why I'm so jumpy about the economy, I'm not that big of a nerd, but the recession really took me by surprise in 2008. And I don't want to be surprised again. And so I'm watching very carefully for indicators that we're heading in that direction. And I will say, the dumping all the federal employees. Now we have a slow economy with all these federal employees now in the job market, and they're taking away the immigrants. And to me, it's I don't want to sound doom and gloom, but I'm watching it like a hawk because it's unnerving to me.
And Sarah, like he said, he's making America great again, right?
Yeah, right.
And what's happening with, taking away the immigrants, as he mentioned on his campaign trail, they were the Black jobs, right? Many Black people have government jobs.
Yep.
Okay. So what he's trying to do, now that he's gotten rid of many of the immigrants who did those field jobs and worked in the hotels and chambermaids and so forth, those were the Black jobs. So the government jobs that Black people are losing, he's going to open up those type of jobs for us because that's where he wants to see us.
Yeah.
He said it on the campaign trail. I mean, he even talked about his pure white skin on the campaign trail. Yeah. So a lot of what you're saying makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
He's already brought this out.
Yeah.
He and his cronies.
Yep.
Because see, he's the flunky. The cronies behind him are telling him what to do because they don't want to stand there and do it.
Clearly.
Okay. So
I'll tell you
up there. So
that's my opinion too, is when he was on the campaign trail, he's making these decisions like this fast, signing stuff, doing stuff. You don't hear him speak. And when he was on the campaign trail, he was like the doddering, old fool. And now all of a sudden he's like, da, 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 he's Mr. General. But you don't hear him speak
Because he can't.
because
He
no,
He
can't.
can't.
it's
And they
not
don't know
him
what's in
making
those
those
executive
decisions.
orders.
He has
They
no
just use Chat
vocabulary.
GPT.
All he does is
Sign.
sign his, shows you his signature. He has
Right.
no vocabulary.
And so
No.
it's kind of going back to what they were saying about, Joe Biden and how his dementia was showing. And
Yeah.
what people are not saying, they're not saying that Trump's dementia has been showing as well.
Oh,
And
sure.
yeah.
as a caregiver to two people who had dementia that we didn't notice it 25 years ago when it started, that's exactly what happened with Trump. And so you didn't see it. You saw all this crazy stuff. You said, oh, he's just crazy. Oh, he's just quirky. No, he had dementia and now it's getting
Yeah.
worse. And so these people are now kind of like what I tell when people come in and they try to take advantage of these old people with dementia and sign the checks. That's exactly what they're doing to their
Yeah.
public.
Yep.
Yeah, and I agree with that. So let's go ahead and let me see. Oh, I have a couple of comments here on Slido. So I'm going to go ahead, and if you haven't gotten to Slido, please come in the Slido and you can ask your questions here. You can ask a question to anybody on the panel. And we can go from there. So these were submitted anonymous because I asked them the same thing that I asked the panel when we first started, how they were feeling about the administration, and are they hopeful, leery, or scared? And someone put terrified. The other person was saying that they were very worried, and they consulted in heavily regulated industries where governmental policies uncertainty is already a big variable, and we don't need additional uncertainty added to the added to, for example, business financing, diversity hiring, setup of clinical trials, um, supply chain disruption due to tariffs and or trade wars. So so as as a consultant, I have a few clients that are in regulated areas. I have potential clients that kind of even step back because they were afraid of what was going to happen. So this is a real concern because when we're thinking about this, and again, this shows called the executive perspective. We're talking about we are all leaders here, and I tell people all the time, you are a leader even if you don't have a company. You are leading yourself. You're leading your home. You're leading your team. You're leading whatever it is, because you are somehow somebody's going to be following you. And if you're not a leader now, you will be, right? You will be. So when we're thinking about all of these regulations, these variables, if we're being honest with ourselves, these variables were always variable, right? They always were variable that they could change. And it could change not because of our president, it could change because we saw these same situations happen because of things that happen overseas that wind up impacting us over here, because we are all in a connected world. I think that's the problem that we need to understand, that is hard to get through our head, is that we are all connected in this country, in in the cities, in the counties, in the country, in the states. It's all over. We are in the world. We all are connected. So what we do in America will affect the world, and what the world does will affect us too.
Mm-hmm.
So these variables are there. The one thing is that you have to hope for the best, right? And plan for the worst. Because that's what you should be doing anyway as a leader. You should always be looking at where things can come from or where things can go wrong, right? You should always build out your strategy and make sure that you're and have business objectives, and you're marching towards those business objectives, marching towards whatever, even personal objectives, and just say, all right, well, what's going on that's going to impact me? So if something happens and you're like, well, you know what, I can't go there. So this is the one thing I always give the analogy of going home. And I always talk about this, about a lot of things about going home. Everybody knows how they go home. And usually when we're coming from a place that we usually go to, maybe work or our mother's house or wherever, we usually travels down the same roads to go home, right? We always kind of follow that same path, right? But if something happens on our regular route to go home, are we saying that we're never going to go home? That's not true. We're always going to figure it out. And that's what and anybody that works with me, and they know that that's my favorite word. We'll figure it out. because we have to figure it out. It's not because I'm trying to be dismissive. We have to figure it out or we won't be able to sustain ourselves. Like, and that's just period. So I get it, but the best thing that I can say is that look at in this industry, whatever industry that you're in, look at the legislation that's coming out, look at the executive orders that are coming out, and see how they would impact. What are they saying, and what does it really mean, right? Because because there's always a what it's saying and what it's supposed to it's saying that it's meaning, right? But the actual meaning may be different. The actual impact is maybe different than what they're stating, right? Or what somebody's saying. And sometimes, and I'm not saying that's the case in now, but sometimes the adverse impact isn't intentional, right? Because of, I didn't even know it was going to be that big. Just like I said with the birthright citizenship. I bet you a lot of people didn't think about, hey, wait a second, that actually affects a lot of Americans if you think about it, because a lot of Americans came through Ellis. How far is this going to go back? He didn't say it only going to go back to 2020. He just made a blanket statement which erased everybody's citizenship that were born to immigrants. Right? So here you go. Now, with that being said, we have to look beyond that. Like, I don't think that's the right thing to do. And and of course, he'll tweak it to make it. We're only talking about from these countries or from whatever year, whatever he's going to do it. But he's going to try to block that, or maybe not. Right? Maybe not. But I think that we just have to keep looking at it. And finance is going to be one of those things that is going to be the telltale sign of what's going to go on. And Sarah, you're absolutely right. The money is going to tell us what we're going to do. And as a business, prior to this administration, we can go all the way back to 2008. We can go back to before even before we can go back to even before Barack Obama were president. It was started to be a movement for people to start being more cautious and value-based shopping, right? Knowing where you're spending your money. What's happening now, I think, because as a consultant and I tell them, hey, you have to understand your values. You need to live your values, because people are making decisions off of who they're going to work with, who they're going to buy from based off of their values. So even though you have these other things embedded, people are still shopping their values, right? And with that being said, our values are going to be the key to how this country goes if we put our money where our values are. Okay. And that is something that, like I told you before about the power. So anybody, please submit some more questions and any comments to this as well. But I want to just talk to something about, I want to bring this conversation up. Okay. I'm going to start some trouble here. So we have these companies that are, minority owned companies in these stores that said, we don't want DEI anymore. On one hand, you got business owners that saying, well, you should just buy my stuff in the store, but don't buy everybody else's stuff, but you should support me because I was a good girl and you should support me. And then you have other ones that are saying, no, you don't have to buy my stuff from there. Don't buy my stuff from there. You can come and get it from me directly, and there's other places that I sell my goods, because I don't want you to go in there because at the end of the day, the impact is this. Regardless of if you go and buy a Black-owned product from a store that removed their DEI, that store is still making the bulk of the money before that individual company is. So that is not boycotting in an effective way. And as a business owner, there are ways that we can do this. And I understand that if you have licensing agreements and legal agreements, you have to adhere to those agreements. But this is the time that you hire somebody like me that comes in and strategize with you how to move your products and own your products and be able to make those control. And so you can say, I do make the rules, because you can tell who's making the rules for themselves by the way they're handling the situation. About, hey, don't get my stuff from that store. Just get, you can come to my website, you can buy it directly from me, and I have it in other stores that are, and you can come to my website and you can see those other stores where you can get it from if you want to. So I want to ask you, what do you think about that? How does that make you feel if an owner of a company is saying, buy my stuff, even if it's from the store that doesn't like you? And the other company is saying, hey, we'll figure it out. You can buy it from us, and we'll figure out how to get into more places that are friendly to our cause, because that company, that organization, that store no longer aligns with our mission, and we don't even want our stuff in there. So how do you guys feel about that? How does that make you feel? I'm going to start with Katie, because Katie never starts. So Katie, you go ahead and start.
Okay, I'll start this one. I do think there's in 2025, there's no reason why a lot of businesses, and I understand there's legal agreements, there's other things in place that do limit the actions of certain small business owners. However, this is 2025. There's ways to sell your products, advertise your products, move your products in ways that are outside of those contracts. And given the extreme, radical changes that these companies have gone forward with, it would be perfectly reasonable to assume that you have somewhat of a case. I'm not saying that everybody's just going to get off and get a free pass on not honoring their contracts with these companies. But if these companies have these egregious policies that they set into place in the middle of your contract or some point, while the contract's in effect, that I believe that you would have some amount of legal recourse. But we live in 2025. There's no reason why you need to play with these companies that are not serving your needs or discriminate not only against you, but of the people that you value.
Right, right. I think you're right. I think that I understand legal agreements, and you may not be able to get out of a legal agreement, right? And I get that part. Like, you may not be able to get out of it. And I'm not telling you to break break an agreement. There might be give it to a lawyer and see if there was some level of, because of this, was a breach of contract, or a clause, about, how there has to be certain things, like, like if an NFL player does something illegal, they can get kicked out of it because of those clauses. And same, so therefore it's like the character is not what you thought that you were aligning yourself with. So there may be some legal recourse that you can pull out of those things. But I also understand that there might be a financial thing that, I'm not telling anybody to, well, pull yourself out of there and you be poor. I'm not telling you to do that, right? I mean, listen, I wrote a book about breaking up, and it told people, don't run out of a relationship if you're dependent on your partner, right? So I would never tell you to run out of that relationship until you have something else set up. But don't tell me that I should buy your stuff and go against me. So it's like, and I know this, I'm going to say something. I wonder if I'm going to get kicked off of social media. Well, guys, we'll see if they kick us off. So I know how to say it. So if those people that wear the white hoods own a restaurant, right? But the chef is nice. Like, the chef cooks, right? Good. And you didn't know, you went to this restaurant and you're like, oh, I love this restaurant. But you didn't know that the people that wore the white hoods actually owned that restaurant. But when you found out that one of the leaders of the local white hood chapter owned that restaurant, do you still continue to go to that restaurant because you like the chef? And that's how I look at going to those stores.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. Like, why would I keep going to giving my money to somebody that I know they're going to take the money and use it against me?
Can I say something, Rolanda?
Uh-huh.
This really highlights the fact that for many of these small business owners, especially small business owners who belong to our communities of color, that they need additional resources and supports that may not already exist. So for example, if you are someone who is under contract with one of these companies that have eliminated or destroyed their DEI policies, What kind of recourses do they have, and what are their access to resources that they have that's available to them that they can take action quickly to kind of right the ship? And I think that really speaks to the fact that for centuries that we have not been honoring and committing ourselves to providing resources to all Americans, not just the ones that we think should be here or were born here or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what we're calling Americans today. I'm kind of confused. I'm looking at the map and we don't even have a Gulf of Mexico anymore. So I'm just really, really confused today.
And I think for
So,
me,
I'm sorry,
go
go ahead.
ahead. Oh, yeah,
No, go
because
ahead.
when we were talking about this, and I know that I brought up that, I have a lot of friends who have these, these products that they were supported by these minority programs within these companies. And I made the statement that I'm going to keep supporting them because I know behind the scenes they're working to get their products out, but I got to give them time. I can't start the boycott on day one because they were blindsided just like I was.
So
But
I will
also,
get.
I'm
I'm sorry.
sorry.
Go ahead, Sharon. I'm
This
sorry.
is just speaking like at the Targets where there's Black products, and you know, we stopped promoting Target, but you can actually buy from the actual person who produced the product. Like, go to that person's website and purchase the items rather than purchasing them through Target. That's
Right,
another
and I'm
way
saying
that,
some of these people didn't do that. They don't have
right,
their sites. They were with the contract. They were part
right,
of some of these programs, or they have these exclusive contracts. And those are the ones that
right.
I'm specifically speaking to.
Okay,
I have a couple of
right.
friends, and I'm going to support them till they can get their ducks in a
I
row and get
got you.
out.
Right, right. But that's
So, and that's
another
what, and
way.
I know, I know this. That's what I'm saying. There are certain things that are on contractual obligations, right? There are
Mhm,
certain contractual obligations that they have to hear, right?
mhm,
And Vicky, that's your friend. And no
mhm.
disrespect to your friend, but I don't know your friend. And for your friend to come online and tell me that, you know what I mean, that the person that they don't know, that I should go to that store. Because come on now. I mean, if people go to, let's be honest,
Nope,
if you
nope,
go
I
to
get it.
buying one thing. Look, okay, let's keep it real. You're not gonna, because you're like, you know what? I'm already here, so I might as well get this paper towels and this toilet paper and this, and you get what I'm saying? Like, you're not just going to buy one thing. And sometimes it's just like, when people are on, when I stopped smoking, right? And I won't say drugs, but stopped smoking cigarettes. Everybody, I smoked Newports. That's all I smoked years ago. Um, when I stopped smoking cigarettes, I had to like kind of like not be around it because I had to have a withdrawal because like if I go to because people miss the familiar, right?
Mhm.
You
Sure.
miss right? You miss that. You miss the ability to go to Target or Walmart or order from Amazon and just get the stuff that you want to get delivered right away. Now I gotta go to Smile Active. Yes, guys, a Smile Active. I use Smile Active. I had to go to Smile Active, and now I gotta go get my stuff delivered online. Now I gotta go to Super Smile and get my mouthwash delivered. Now I gotta go to Native and go get, like, I have to go to these different sites to go get the stuff that I want delivered to me. And I'm just going to say this is the fact that yes, there are people, organizations, and small businesses that can't move, right? And I understand that. And it's like, okay, they need help to figure out how to move. Like, they need to find a strategy how they can move, because I don't think this is going to stop. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
And I think it's going to get worse. And if they don't
Sure.
create a way to move, they're going to get trampled on
mhm,
by this tsunami of, hey, when we really start seeing that power that we have.
yep,
So what I'm gonna say is that in my experience, because I've been shopping, okay, people have just really started, COVID made everybody start ordering online. Anybody that knows me, that knows, and I know there's a couple of people on here that know me for years, that Sarah was like, oh, you're getting the groceries delivered. This is way before
Yeah.
yes, I've been getting my groceries delivered since like 2017 or 16 or something like that. So I've been ordering online for many, many years. So I always understood that convenience. I mean, and I think Sarah, because Sarah was around me a lot, and so was Kiana around me a lot during COVID when I was mad that everybody's buying all my paper towels because I was a paper towel hoard. I always hoarded toilet paper and paper towels before COVID. So I was mad that everybody started doing the same thing I was doing. Um, so for me, it's like, okay, so now how do I get this stuff? And I can tell you this from experience that going to these sites, because you can go to Amazon and get it, oh, I'll get my deodorant auto delivered. I can do this auto delivered. You can do the same stuff at these brand sites, these larger brands, and get them delivered. And like my bagels, like I love bagels, right? And these bagels I can get them on QVC. You can get them you can go to Walmart has it at the marketplace, and Amazon has a marketplace. And guess what? I went to this site, and this is the thing I want to tell everybody. People think it's a hardship. It is not. I went to the site. I bought my bagels. They were cheaper for me to get them from the company, and it still was free delivery. So I say that it's not that bad because I saved a couple of dollars anyway. It was like $5. But those
I also want to say something though, when it in from the perspective of the consumer. And I was having a conversation within a community that I'm in online earlier. And what were we talking about? I forget exactly. Oh, we were talking about like content creation. But I think this applies to just anyone that's in business. I like to see intentionality, and I like to see accountability in people. So when you come to me as a business owner, where to me this is kind of like a logistics problem, or this is just one of the ups and downs, that you need to navigate as a business owner, and you're saying to me, I'm hearing mitigate this problem for me. Like, don't make me have to do too much in terms of my own business of figuring this out. You just keep coming here and buy. That kind of rubs me the wrong way. And so I appreciate seeing a business owner that says, hey, this is the situation. This is how it affects me. However, I am willing, able, and prepared to do the work that I need to do as a business owner, as the person who has the stake in my business being successful to mitigate this. I'm just letting you know what the situation is, but I'm on it in terms of trying to figure out how to maneuver this. I'm more apt to want to work with that person than someone who's just coming to me and saying, hey, yeah, don't make sure my coins aren't affected adversely. Like, I know all this stuff is going on, but just make sure that I can stay in the lifestyle to which I'm accustomed. That doesn't really gel with me too much.
Yeah, and that's where my friend came at me from. I just got hit. I'm working on this. Please don't stop your order.
And that's understandable.
Yeah. Can I say something, Rolanda?
Yes, ma'am.
Too. I mean, I think one of the things that really burns about like the Target issue, for instance, is because they were very inclusive and they offered products that people like me may not have been exposed to. But now that we are, we think they're great. And it's a way to purchase and use the products in a way that's not culturally appropriating, but also not invading space in, maybe the smaller, the mom and pop shops that are owned by people of color. Sometimes you feel like you're invading space, whereas Target was a little bit more of that inclusive environment where you can, be exposed to things that I, would not ordinarily be exposed to people that look like me. They're great products, and we're patronizing businesses owned by people of color. And I think that's a really big harm that was done when Target made the choices that they did with regards to DEI. It has these impacts that go further out because DEI wasn't just about the employees. It was about the customers too.
Yep.
Right. And you know what? Let's say it like this. Like, yeah. And I'm being funny, okay? Because I know it's talking about different stuff. I gotta throw a joke in. Yeah, because I know y'all didn't know about shea butter. We knew about shea butter for a long time. Butter. Now y'all want the shea butter and cocoa. Mama, Mama's rubbing cocoa butter on me. Oh, you gotta scratch it and put this cocoa butter on it. But you're right? It was a way by having those products. It wasn't just about we're going to we're going to, you know, pacify these minorities, right? And have them come to our stores and we're going to give them products. It was also a way for people that never knew about these things, never understood these products. Um, let's say like this, even with people that are like in a relationship like you are, you know, Katie, you said like, well, I mean, I guess the kids were grown, but if you had small kids, right? That you would be able to go and get the right products for cultural hair, like ethnic hair, because there is a difference, right? And if you didn't know about it, how would you know about it? If you grew up in suburbia, against with all, you know, you're just using, you know, and I wanted to say this because we came from South Philly, Aquanet, right, Katie? If you're just using a bunch of Aquanet, you, you don't you don't know that moisturization is needed for our scalps as people of color, and our coils do a little bit different. We can't have the Aquanet on our hair because it's, you know, so
Right out.
right. So by being in those places, and it gave an opportunity for different cultures to work to see the what other people are doing in a positive way, right? Because if I am if I am only in my one place, in my one circle, in my one thing, and I only know this one thing, then I'm never going to be able to understand and reach across this aisle and say, Katie, I understand you and I appreciate you and I appreciate the differences that you have and I appreciate where you're coming from, right? Sarah, you're different from me. Well, Sarah, you are different from me. You ride horses. I couldn't even I don't even know what to do with a horse. Okay, so except for look at it and say that's a beautiful animal. And but you know, that's just different. But let me just say this. Saren and Vicky, even though they might look like me, people assume that they had the same, they grew up in a similar backgrounds as me, right? You know, we're all kind of close in age, but we didn't. We all have very different backgrounds, right? Very different backgrounds. So I think that I think the problem that I have with DEI, and I'm going to go into my problem with DEI. My problem with DEI is just that it assumes that the person that isn't a white man, a hetero white man that is able-bodied, okay, let's make sure all of that is there. If you are in an executive position or in a leadership position, that you got that position not because of your qualifications, but because of what you look like. And that is what the pushback is. It's like you're just making an assumption that this person isn't qualified to do this job. But DEI isn't that, right? DEI is about ensuring that you open up to have a broader field of candidates for these jobs. You have a broader field of ideas when you're trying to build business growth and building a strategy, right? It was okay. So I saw Tyler Perry's thing. You know, what's his mother's name? I can't remember. What is
Medea?
No. Something baby. What is her name?
Somebody's son, somebody's baby.
Nexie's
His
baby.
mother's name. Insert mom's name here. Baby.
Yes. So let me just say this. He was talking about how he got his deal with Lionsgate. The guys from Lionsgate said that, you know, he came and trying to shop this movie and they didn't know who Tyler Perry was. And they were like, who's this Tyler Perry? They didn't know. And then somebody said, yeah, I don't know. You might need to talk to him because he's doing these plays and he's making all this money around, you know, in the country. And he looked at the money. He was like, well, how is he making all this money? And he went around to all of his executives. Listen to this. All of his executives that look kind of like him and said, do you know this guy, Tyler Perry? Do you know this guy, Tyler Perry? And they're like, no, I don't know it. He said he had this diversity meeting that they would just happen to go, that he had, and it was like all people of different colors. And then he said, hey, I have a question for does anybody in here know who Tyler Perry is? And he said that they raised their hand, and all the people of color knew exactly who Tyler Perry was, knew all of his plays, and they said, we're making a mistake. We're losing out on an opportunity because we are so engrossed in what we look like, as opposed to looking at that Black people might want to go to the movies. And when his first 5 movies, they were like, well, Black people don't make money. his first 5 movies opened up, I
Yeah.
think 4 of them at #1.
Mhm.
And they were like, that is crazy. And Lionsgate is just this is just saying that diversity is not about giving for business reasons. And I'm going to say selfishly, as a business, diversity does not, it actually helps your business grow. It opens up avenues to people that you may not know about and need, right? Because when you're thinking about having a business, you need to understand who, what people need and meet those needs, and then you gotta market, right? And you'll be first to market. But if nobody is listening to these people, and that's why Lionsgate was able to get this big share, because nobody was listening and nobody was making movies for people of color, about people of color, in people of color situations that other people may not get, right? Because Tyler Perry, if you aren't Black, you might not get some of the stuff that they get, right? Like the grits. Like, I know where that came from. That's come from Al Green. Now, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you have to understand that opening up and being diverse is a strategic advantage as a business, not just being holding hands in la la land. It is a strategic advantage of a business to look at that. And I'm going to go back to this again, because if you don't believe it, people out here in the world, if you own a business, it's a strategic advantage, because people of color, excuse me, African Americans, Black people, what you want to say, were on target as of last year to spend, not earn, but spend 1.8 with a T trillion dollars. That's a lot of money that if you alienate these people, you will lose. And that's what Target started feeling right away.
I have something
Right
to
away.
add to that, because even back, you and I were talking about back when I was doing hair and stuff, and I was looking into like trying to sell hair and stuff like that. I also went and was doing research, like market research, on the spending habits of Black women. Black women specifically is so much of the market of, if you're talking about like tapping into the diversity market, Black women specifically. You want to be our friend. You want us to like you. If you want to make some money.
And those companies that have said, I don't care what you say, we're keeping our DEI, they recognize all of what you just said, that it's valuable to have diverse opinions, diverse, input, diverse people in your organization, but also that we don't want to alienate our customer base. And so, I mean, echoing, what we've all been talking about is focusing on those companies that don't want to alienate us and give them, I work really hard for my money and I'm pretty tight. I don't want to give my money to somebody who thinks I'm crap. I've already, grown, or being a single mother over the years and a single woman over the years, have had many, many, many service people try to take advantage of me. Car dealerships, car servicers, people come in to work in my home trying to take advantage of me, and I'm over it. So now that I look like this, they don't do it as much, but I still am really tight with my money. I'm not going to give it to anybody who treats me like crap, or my friends,
Thank
So
you for saying
I do have a
the
question.
friend.
Yeah.
And so
I do have a question for the group that's slightly different than DEI. I was wondering how everybody feels about having our neighbors to the north and south support us this time around, because I don't remember that happening before, where, and in Europe as well, where they're boycotting certain products and things from the USA, where they're saying, oh well, this product is rotten on the shelves, but this other product that's made in our country, Canada specifically, the shelves are empty. So I didn't know if other people, how they felt about that or didn't feel about that. I was just curious.
So I'll let somebody answer, but I'm going to say I saw this meme today that had, did I send it to you, Vicky? I don't think I did. But it said, it was a sign in Toronto that says, made with 0% American cheese. It was a big
Yes.
billboard.
Yes.
But
A lot.
I don't think it was last time, and I'm assuming you mean like last time Trump was in the
Yeah.
okay. It wasn't as egregious, it wasn't as aggressive. I think because the last time emboldened him, the fact that he knew like I can do it.
Yes.
And so this time everybody was perched and ready to do all of this stuff. So now it's just like ridiculous the amount of just terror and calamity and chaos that's going on. And not just that, they've been very vocal about their ambitions to kind of reach beyond the USA. And so I think that's everybody else saying, not over here, not over here. You're not going to do it here.
Well, and China is a target for us, right? Not for us, but America. It's a target. China's ready. They've been ready. So China exports huge amounts of our grain that we produce here, corn and soybean. And guess what? Brazil produces them as well. And Brazil produces huge amounts of, they're our major competitor. And so China was like, they're ready. They're like, oh, okay, well, I'll get it from there then. And so I know we're going to feel it. We are going to feel it.
Yeah, sure.
So it's like a double-edged sword. On one side, I'm like, see. On the other hand, I'm like, oh, shoot, this is not going to be good for us.
It's not surprising at all because of what Kiana said. He's just being egregious. We're going to make you our 51st state. We're going to take Greenland. We're going to take this. We're going to take that.
Gulf of America.
And the undercurrent about how he got in, there's, a little bit of speculation. Now he's, getting in bed with all of the, dictators. These people are saying, you know what? We can't trust this administration this time around because they're flaunting the checks and balances, and the Republicans are letting him flaunt the checks and balances. Guess what? We're going to have to take care of ourselves, guys. Sorry, we can't be your friends this time.
I think that's important for us to understand, right? I think that's important for us to understand is that we here we know that we're not alone, okay? And we are all, all of us on this call are leaders of some sort, right? And we have our own businesses. We have our, content that we're creating. We have, we're doing things, right? We're helping people. We're doing all kinds of things that, put us in a position of leadership and authority. And as we go through this time, right? I mean, and I'm just going to say this. I don't know about you, but it hasn't been a month, and it feels like it's already been 2.5 years. Okay, I mean, it's very exhausting, because it's always something else. And everybody's on here to know that you guys all know me, know that I stopped watching the news, right? And I still keep getting bombarded with news every which way. And then I love you guys. You guys don't take this the wrong way. If please can you just send me those texts. But everybody, all of you guys and other people that's not on this call, send me, did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see it? And one of the main culprits is my mom. She's like, oh my God, what does this mean? And I'm like, oh wow, because people are like, people are afraid. And I'm just going to go to Dave Chappelle when he did his thing right before Trump was going to be inaugurated, and he just told him basically not to forget. The main thing is that basically not to forget that he's the president of everybody, not just the people that voted for him.
That's right.
And the problem is that I don't think the people that are with him care. And why you might sit there and say, why you're not putting the onus on Trump? I'm going to tell you why I'm not putting the onus on Trump. Because he signed 64 executive orders in less than a month. And I know he didn't write them.
Oh,
Somebody
yeah.
told him
He's
that
got
this is what he needs
he's
to
got
do.
cognitive decline. It is clear as day. The man has
We know
cognitive
he
decline,
didn't
and
do it.
everybody is using him as a puppet.
Yeah.
And you know, everything that they put in front of him. And when you're, I hate to say this, but he's my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law's cognitive decline mirrors this. Everything is about them. They're right. Nobody else knows anything. And if it wasn't for her having the son that she has, she'd still be this way. But he took over, and nobody is taking over. Nobody is seeing this man for the sick person that he is. And I get it. People are going to probably be really ticked at me for saying this. I'm not defending him because it ain't him. He's got cognitive decline. And the people around him are taking advantage of that to their gain.
Well, and the chaos is by design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There, the level of chaos every day, every minute, several times a day, there's some kind of crazy going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's to keep us all, slightly off balance, which is why I started watching the stock market, because that's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the spin from one side to the other. Like for us in California, they were talking about turning the water on to stop the fires. Who in the hell is not wanting water? And then they go and turn on the tap like there's some giant tap. The water is going to then cause a flood later because you've released all this water, so people are going to be flooded out. And it never made it. It's like these simpletons don't understand
you can't
size of
release
the
water.
state. You can't, it's so complicated. And and it's like, wait, it made it out here. Oh my God. It's so for me, staying grounded in reality, I think the market is the way I've found to stay grounded and not get spun out with the chaos, but it is by design for sure.
A friend of mine had brought it to our attention, Miss Bonnie, and then he was talking about how Steve Bannon called it flooding the zone.
Yep.
And that's what that is, just throwing everything at you to just completely disorient you and everything like that. And like you, I kind of have just like tapped out, except for certain things. I'm paying attention to certain things because I'm trying to stay cognizant. I'm trying to stay focused on what my goals are, because my goals remain the same no matter what is going on. And I will say that being one of the unfortunates, I was talking to my cousin before the election, and we were talking about how people were talking about not voting at all, and this and that and the other. And I said to her, honestly, I still do not want that man in the White House. However, when I really sit and think about my life during that time period, it didn't change too much. Like my day-to-day wasn't different, but it was that anxiety of what is this man to do? He's got his finger on the button. I don't trust that. And now with all this other stuff that he's doing, it's like I had to make an intentional decision to check out and to not give him that power to have me frazzled in that way.
Yeah. So can I just say this is that as Black people, as business owners, as just individuals, as people, we've been through a lot as a people. And the one thing I can say about my people is that we are resilient. Okay. We're one of the most resilient peoples, races, or whatever you want to call it, on the planet. I mean, if you think about it, in almost every single continent, you'll find that there is some level of discrimination against us. And it's not because we came in and started, beating people up, and they say, oh, you guys are bad. They just like, oh, you just don't look like somebody I want to do, or I want this, right? There is a thing that I think that if, I was talking about this earlier, it's like The problem is that the right and the left, the two extremes, have been fighting with each other for so long that the pendulum is just swinging right now. Okay, it swung over here, and I was going to swing over that side, left and right. But we all know that what happens with a pendulum when it keeps swinging, it's going to keep getting less and less, and eventually it's going to come to the middle. Then tell somebody, and we know somebody's going to hit it again, right? You know what I'm saying? And it's going to go swinging again. And that's just the cycle of how this works. We just have to, as leaders and business owners, for me, I can't just concentrate on one thing, because if I'm looking at different, different type of clients, I'm looking at how to position myself to be helpful for those clients that I have, clients that I want, myself, right? And I have to look at the whole picture, but I don't look at the whole picture in a way of, let me look at Fox, or let me look at MSNBC, let me look at these slanted news. What happened, and what is the impact? What was the intent of this? And take out the emotion from the situation, right? Because it's easy to get emotional, right? It's so easy to get emotional because this stuff hits home. For me, this is what I'm saying. Out of 64 executive orders that you did, and this one hits home, I'm going to sit there and say, not one of them says we're going to have a war on cancer, something that affects everybody, regardless of age, regardless of race, regardless of money you own, regardless of religion. That's something that is a dreadful thing that is affecting us, right? Why is it that cancer is coming in killing so many people? It's not, because before, when we were younger, you were like, oh, that person smoked. They ain't smoke. How did this little kid get lung cancer? They didn't smoke. Nobody in their family smoked. How did that happen? We have to start thinking about that. There's a bigger picture here, and the bigger picture is not about, well, Katie doesn't look like me, so I don't care what Katie feels. Sarah doesn't look like me, so I don't care what Sarah feels. We have to understand that everything that we're doing is together. The price of eggs is a price of eggs for everybody. The price of gas is a price of gas for everybody, right? The lack of healthcare is a lack of healthcare for everybody that doesn't have access to healthcare. Okay. And we have to think about that as a business owner. Yes, I understand. Oh, wow, I got to get insurance for my people that work with me. It costs a lot of money. I get that part, right? I understand that part, right? But as a business owner, it's a good business decision to make sure that you have a healthy workforce, because they show up, they're productive, they're happier, right? Having sick people as as your employee is not a value add to your benefit. So we have to your business, you have to think about those things. Worried people, right? He's going to get rid of all these government employees. What's going to happen now that you have all these federal employees are like what is going to flood the market of the unemployed? The unemployment rate that went down over the past few years is going to skyrocket, right? And there's still the same amount of jobs. And if you are removing these jobs and removing that job because you're saying that you're reducing spending, but what are you spending the money on? That's my question. And as a business owner, we have to be prepared for that, right? We have to be prepared for that. And as leaders, we have to be prepared for not just for ourselves, but for everyone that works with us, works under us. For me, I need to understand this stuff. So for my clients,
when you talk about cutting through the noise, the one place that I go to, because I can't do the Fox, I can't do the MSNBC, I can't do the CNN, I just can't do it. I can't do mainstream media. I read the blogs from Heather Cox Richardson. She's a historian, and she just basically puts it in the facts. Here's what he said. Here's how it goes against the Constitution. Here's how he said. Here's how it's illegal. Because I can't take all of the opinions coming from these mainstream pundits, because a lot of it is their opinion.
Right. Right. So when I grew up, as my god baby said, in the old times, in the 90s, in the 1900s, right? When I grew up in the 1900s, in the olden days, in the 1900s, I remember when the news was the news.
Boring as heck.
It was here. Typewriter in the background. Oh, this is the update for today. This is what happened. The stock market was there. Oh, this person got killed. You know, you just heard they as what's his name? Oh my God, Ron Burgundy said he just read the news, right? They just read it, and it is what it is. They didn't put a spin on it. They didn't tell you how you should feel about it. They
Mm-hmm.
just read the news.
Yep.
So yeah, so I I just wish that we could just understand the news the way that we want to I want to understand the news in as far as looking at the news and receiving the news as what it is, and then being able to intellectually talk about it. So when we think about this here, all of these orders that is here, um I just some of them like the eradicate anti-Christian bias. Like, what does that mean? Right? You know what I mean? Like, like that's not what it is. Because to me, it's again that's a slippery slope to separation of church and state for me.
They don't believe
That
in separation of church and state.
I
They
know
want
that.
they want they believe that the church should run government. And the
I,
church is just the Christian church.
yeah, and the downside, whew, wow. Can I just tell you guys? I just looked at this and saw that all of these came out. Like, how many was it today? 44. Like 20 today? It was 20 today.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So as a business owner, as a leader, and I'm thinking about this and as we're moving forward, Barry has to like, we have to do the Rodney King. Can't we all just get along? Because we can, right? We can. We as business owners, we have to work together. And we're talking about boycotting. And my main thing about boycotting is not about boycotting. We need to we need to boycott, yes, but we also need to find alternatives, right? Because at one time, I was like, oh, don't go there, but I think Sarah can attest. I don't know if I don't know, Vicky, I send you stuff like, hey, go here, like I've been
Mm-hmm.
sending when I find places for people to go. Like these are good brands because you can't, it's like taking a toy away from a kid. Like you can't just take something away and not give them something in return. So you're telling me I can't go to Target. You're telling me I can't go get stuff from Amazon. You're telling me I can't go to Walmart. You're telling me I can't go here. You're telling me I can't buy a Ford. What can I buy? Where can I go?
Mm-hmm.
And that is the part about and I talked to you about this, Katie, about creating this database of this information that I'm receiving because I get information overload, and pulling it together so people can have it, right? um where can I go get a t-shirt? Where can I go get the stuff from? Where can I go, and we have, and I'm going to say this is that anybody's watching here, there is an opportunity for everybody here to stand up and create something of value. There is an opportunity here. If you don't understand what I mean by that, is meaning that if there isn't something there, so say like if we took away a Walmart and a Walmart marketplace, then there's an opportunity for us to build something like that. Is it going to be done overnight? Heck no. But it's an opportunity to build that marketplace that will be for, about us, right? will be the place where we can, that people can go and feel included in and still get their stuff and still have those savings. The reason why Walmarts and Amazons and the Targets are able to give the prices that they're able to give is because they buy in bulk, right? There is a time now that these mom and pop stores, and these are, listen, I'm a consultant and I'm telling you guys some strategies right here. So if you're not, write them down. There is ways that you can go in your neighborhood, these neighborhood stores that can work together in community to buy these items in bulk and split the, so they can get that price that those bigger stores are getting, right? Without, and they can pass those savings on to their individual, shoppers that are trying to patronize them. Okay. So if Kiana has a store and Katie has a store and Sarah has a store and they all need to sell we're going to say Scott paper towels, because I know that Procter and Gamble, they got rid of their Procter and Gamble's up on the bad list. So we're going to say Scott. So we're going to say they need to buy Scott paper towels, but they're like, well, you know what? For us to get it, we have to buy in a bulk, and so maybe these three stores can work together, because one works on this side of the city, this other one works on that side of the city, other one works on another side of the city. Work together and get a bulk order and split that order so they can pass those savings on to each other. This is coming about community economics, bringing the economics together and understanding where, as business owners, you can find synergy. You're not in competition all the time with somebody that's selling the same thing that you are, because everybody's not going to sell the same stuff. Everybody's not going to have the same feel in their store, right? Everybody's not going to want to travel to your store. There's going to be areas that people are not just going to go to. People are going to go where it's convenient, because that's what Walmart was selling. That's what Target was selling. And that's damn sure what Amazon was selling, was convenience.
Yeah, I'll have to get you that list, Rolanda, because something like that actually exists. My husband works in the grocery industry. There are other, because he sells to the distributor and the mom and pops order from the distributor. So I know that exists, and so if people don't know about that, I'll see if I can get it from him where they are across the U.S. But that does exist, and it's been around for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. But now the question is the distributor a good guy or not?
They're mostly unions, so I can't tell you that they're a good guy or a bad guy. They are.
Well, the union's messed up this time, okay?
They got they got conglomerates that they come together to pull together their buying power, so that Jorge's store on this corner and Betty's store on this corner, they all order from here, and they can pull and get kind of like small what was it, small business insurance, how they pull together.
Yes, you can do small business insurance that way. You can do medical insurance that way. And my thing is the fact that you can, that's what I'm saying, like doing this is you can also do shopping this way. We have to think about ways to do it together so we can pass on the savings, because the problem is that people are not going to want to pay $10 over here when they can go to Walmart and get it for $5, but they might not mind paying $6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they understand that what it is. But $5 and $10 is a big difference, especially when people are in an economy that they're not certain of.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we have to think about this strategically as business owners and as a community to figure out how we're going to get better at being able to supply to get the supply for the demand of our communities, because they don't want to go to these stores, but some of them will have to go to those stores. I understand that, because you have older people.
Mm-hmm.
I said we have older people that you know that can't just go to far away.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They just can't go far away.
No.
So like it's it's a lot, guys. It's a lot, but there is a way forward. Okay. I always like to, there's a way forward, and we just have to find that community together, and we have to figure out strategies together.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are all here because you guys understand that yes, it seems like a doom and gloom, and yes, it's hard to think about the changes in such a short period of time that has occurred in this country, right? And it's not just the changes of what this person said, but how everybody is acting and how everybody is feeling. It makes a difference on how you can build businesses, because people say, oh, you have a business. The businesses are built on people, and they're built to provide services or goods to people. So if they are afraid to spend their money, you're not going to be in business long, right?
Yeah, and you talk about the doom and gloom and the worrisome, and I know people don't want to hear this either, but reach out to your representatives because you pay their salary. And when you bombard them enough and they start to see, I mean, we saw it in previous administrations where they would see, oh, I got to buck the system because these people are going to vote me out. And I know everybody keeps thinking there's not going to be another election, but you got to assume that there's going to be another election, and you need to keep these people on their toes to think they're not going to get your vote that they don't deliver on their promises to you.
Well, I know it's probably going to be a midterm. I know we're going to have a midterm. I know that for sure. And the midterm.
Well, so you got to have a midterm so that you can make sure that you have a 4 year.
That's right. You got to get the midterm to get the 4 year. Yes.
One of my friends who just happens to be an attorney, not him, another one, a woman. She was saying that needed to warn people to get legal advice on how businesses can work together. I just wanted to add that because she said, it sounds like people can, the advice we're giving can lead people into potential antitrust trouble.
Right, and the ones that I'm talking about are not antitrust. They're actually sanctioned by the government. They're not just two people sitting on a corner talking and how to collude and change the price fix, all that stuff. Yeah, that's not what this is.
No, not price fix.
I promise, yeah. I'm not. I'm just not in the business, so I'm probably not saying the right words.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about price fixing. We're talking about creating it, like she's saying, like, so what happens here is that, so let's look at BJ's and Sam's Club, right? A lot of these mom and pop stores go to BJ's and Sam's Club using their tax exempt status and go buy the supplies for their stores, right? Okay, so now think about this. You shop at BJ's and Sam's Club. I might shop at BJ's and Sam's Club. So you got to understand that they bought those same sodas and those same waters at the same price that I bought them from, and I'm using them for my personal use, which is great. But they are taking that same water, same sodas, and putting them in their mom and pop stores. So they have to mark it up because they have to make a profit. What we're saying is that, you have to figure out like a way to be able to start getting to more of the high, because they are a whole food place. We're saying that stop buying from the whole food place, the wholesale place, and bypass them and go to the distributor and work together if you need to, because there is a way that you can do it, because they have it that you can buy small things. It's like with stock. People thought that you had to buy a whole share of stock to buy stock, but you don't have to do that anymore if because there's a lot of places you can buy fractions of stock because other people are buying it together.
He sent me one, so I can tell you. One of them is called Associated Grocers, and they are a retail cooperative, and so they actually are licensed to sell to independent stores. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about going and doing something illegal, because there's all that price fixing, all that stuff. But yeah, so I'll see if there's an actual list of who they are around the country of these legal entities that people can work with if they're independent grocers.
And you know what? Let's not even go there.
I think another one is Unified Grocers. So yeah, there's a couple that exist, and they service multiple states. So
yeah, and the thing about it is that people think that you got to do it here, right? Just people are so. See, the thing about it is like I'm thinking about right now. I'm just looking down instead of looking up and seeing that there's opportunity there. I'm not telling anybody to do, because of course you need to talk to set things up. I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not giving anybody legal advice. What I'm saying is that when you get these things, you figure it out, because even though there is a way to get it done. And you know how there's a way to get it done? Because people are already doing these things in other places. Like, you know what I mean? They're doing it. Like, you know, if they can do it for it. So this is my question. If they can do it for insurance, and I know they do it for medical insurance because I work for the insurance company and they do it for medical insurance, and small businesses have cooperatives to get medical insurance together. They can do it for other type of insurance, business insurance. Why can't they do it for supplies? There has to be a way to set it up. There just needs somebody, you know, like the lawyer that's speaking, help set that up. And that would be a business opportunity for you to earn, you know, that somebody can earn money that way by setting it up so people can have somewhere to go. The problem is that some of these things have to be made. And yes, legal, you know, when you're making a legal entity, you know, they have to be, you know, you have to go to a lawyer to get the legal entity made. But some of this stuff that I'm talking about is like, it's just have to be made. It's not necessarily all of it all is not there. Our infrastructure for this, for the others, I'm going to say for all the others, because that's what I'm talking about. Black, white women, people over 40, the disabled, the LGBTQ, the community, all of these, the others, right? A lot of the infrastructure that we would need isn't set up, and there's an opportunity to set that stuff up. And that's where me thinking like, strategy wise, like, you know, just somebody, you know, we can set this up.
Yeah, I mean, but to the point of what, Kiana brought up, and like I said, that there is a lot of around price fixing. And yeah, you may not think that it exists, but it does exist, and they do crack down on them. That's why I said when you brought it up, they already have a lot of those conglomerates already out there. And so probably creating a new one isn't going to work, but you might be able to become a member of one that exists.
Yeah, and if one is not in the area, that means that they need to get one in that area. Just like grocery store deserts, right? You know what I mean? We need to put, you know, we just need to, it's like, it's not, there's one thing I'm going to tell everybody. If you say it can't be done, it won't be done because you're not going to try it. Amazon sold books. I remember buying my books from Amazon was in, he added his little, Amazon was a bookstore. Did you remember half.com? That was Amazon. So if you look at Amazon starting it in his garage selling books, you know, you saw the little shed that Disney was set in. If you sit there and say that it can't be done, you will never figure it out because he didn't know that he can create this crazy marketplace worth billions of dollars when he sat there and opened up something in his garage. He was selling old books, okay? And so I'm not saying that, oh, you go do this, you figure it out. And when I say figure it out, that means you talk to everybody you need to talk to. That could be a lawyer, be accountants. You need to make sure that you're doing it the right way because the opportunity is there. Regardless of if there's legal things that need to be looked at, that's what you call get a lawyer for. You know what I mean? But the opportunity, the part is that the product of us, we always say, oh no, it can't be done. It can be done. And soon, because when we say it can't be done, it won't be done because you won't even try. That's my point. Just like, yeah, I'm going to say my favorite word. Just figure it out. Figure it out. And you'll have people there. You know, that's why, you know, with nonprofits, you need lawyers. You got to set all this stuff up. Like, you know what I mean? You just got to have the right people you're talking to that's going to support you, understand your mission. And that's understanding your mission, understanding your values, and letting those lead you. Trust me, that'll get you far. These people don't believe it, but I do because I see a lot of people that have values are winning, and I do see people that don't have values are winning. But I'm going to sleep on this point and just say this: that my father told me that God wasn't the only one that gave out rewards. So just because they winning now. What don't mean they're gonna be winning later. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I have to look at it because I'm like, how'd it happen? So listen, guys, I want you guys to go around robin how you feel. What do you think? What did you get out of this? Was it a good conversation? I mean, this went into a lot of, you know, we really hammered in on DEI, but I really wanted people to understand that DEI is not about Black people. It really isn't. But it was good. So go ahead and round robin. I will start with, I want to start in the lower corner, which is Kiana. That's where you are from me on my computer.
You're back on
You
mute, Kiana.
muted. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Ultimately, my focus is on remaining focused. Like I said, not allowing myself to be inundated with a bunch of anxiety and fear. Like I already have projects I'm working on that have helped me to alleviate that, and I got started immediately after the election. Um, I I'm already tired. You know, I'm already tired. I just keep saying it's gonna be a long 4 years, but I I'm just staying ready so I don't have to get ready. I don't really know how else to say because I don't want to try to sell a dream and be like, oh, it's fine, we're gonna be fine. I don't know what's coming down the pike. My feelers are out for all kinds of things because that's the precedent that has been set that anything could happen. And so, like I said, my focus is to stay focused.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that sounds like a good one. Okay, Vicky, you're
You say Vicky or Katie?
Vicky.
um, I'm the same way as Kiana. I'm just gonna keep my eyes open. I'm not going to. I'm gonna try to shut off all of the mainstream media noise and just try to focus on people who provide facts and just keep bringing the truth to my channel to people on. You got a plan. You got to focus on your future because you got to assume you're still going to have one. So you can't drop, you can't stop. You got to keep looking forward.
Yeah, you're going to have a future, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want everybody to understand it. You're going to have a future. Whatever it looks like, it's going to be up to your design. And Katie, you are there. Go ahead and you tell me how you feel and all with all of this and what you're going to do moving forward.
I think as a result of this conversation, it's become really clear that we need to, one, be really identity conscious when we are looking at all of these changes that are on the horizon for us.
Mm-hmm.
We need to stay the course. And I know we're exhausted and it's going to get worse. We need to just hunker down and get through it. We need to collaborate, we need to organize, and we need to move forward with conviction.
That is a really good way to look at it. And for me, I'm not going to sit there and say I'm selling a dream because I'm going to tell you the truth is that you're going to make it through. Um, it may not be what you want it to be. It may not look like the way you want it to look, but you are going to make it through. Um, this is not the end of us, and the only way it's the end of you, because it's not going to be the end of me. The only way you end of you is if you allow it to end you. And yes, there's a lot of things going on. Like I said, if you say you can't do it, you won't do it. Right? I'm going to tell you something that I told my son years ago, and I tell him this all the time, and I believe this. You are always right. No matter what you say, you are always right. Because if you say you can't do it, you won't do it because you will never try or you will give up. But if you say you can do it and you know you can do it and you say it, nothing is going to stop you from getting it done. And if you want to build a business, if you want to listen, the thing that happens in this type of environment, billionaires in this day and age are made. And you can decide if you're going to look at the opportunities and, like I said, build something that is needed, or are you going to, as people say, sell out, right? You can do that too. Or you can just sit there and say, woe is me, because that is what those are your choices. And I'm not telling you that, everything's going to be rosy, it's going to be great. But for me, I know that it's hard. It's been hard. I saw this coming. I'll have to say, I tell people all the time, I knew all this was coming, but I never knew 64 in less than 30 days was going to happen. I didn't understand that, right? But I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen quick. Um, And as a person that deals with consulting and strategy work, is like, the first thing I thought about, well, what can businesses do? And I'm helping a lot of my clients and even my potential clients and my friends talk about what can you do to position yourself, because you can't be foolproof in this economy, because you don't know what's going to happen, but to be able to pivot quickly, because that's the part about it, being agile. And as a business owner and from an executive perspective, you have to be agile regardless of whatever it is, like you got to be Muhammad Ali in his prime and just being able to move, you just got to stick a move, because that is what it's all about. Okay, I love Muhammad Ali. I have a poster of him on my wall. So um you have to do that. So I'm going to tell you guys tonight that, I appreciate you guys coming in. I haven't seen everything in the chats, and I will look at them. Um, and I appreciate you. And if you haven't done it already, please follow the channel. Please follow me. There's going to be more of these conversations, but not like this. More going to be very targeted about how to optimize your time, how to be the executive that you need to be. That's what the executive perspective is going to be, talking about how to be more efficient, how to get through these changes, and as things come up that will directly affect businesses, we will talk about those things as well. All of the episodes will not be live. Some of them will be, some of them won't. Some of them will be recorded, but this will be a podcast that will eventually be on where everywhere you can find a podcast. But this one right here was a live, because this was something I wanted just to kick off, because we just wanted to regroup this group again, because I love them so much and it was so much going on. And I listen, I didn't want to wait until March, because if I waited till March, who knows? There'd have been like 3,000 we would have to review. So so I just did announce that we got to do this quickly, because it's just been so much. So I appreciate everybody being here. I know a couple people had to drop. Sharon, thank you so much for joining, and so did Sarah, she had to drop as well. But Katie, Vicky, Kiana, I appreciate you for coming in, joining the conversation, and I hope that you guys had a good conversation and a good camaraderie here. And we're going to get through this, like we say, regardless, we just got to make it happen. That's all. Thank you so much. And you guys have a night.
Talk soon.
Oh yeah, you guys all know I'm probably going to you tomorrow. So just, that's how I do. I'll talk to